Both Meteor Makers and Hoorai are on 3-game losing streaks. Hoorai's losing streak was predictable, while MYM's 3 straight losses are stunning. MYM faced 3 of the toughest teams in WC3L, World Elite, 4 Kings, and Mouse Sports, but they are the reigning champions of WC3L. On the other hand, Hoorai has been struggling to stay out of the bottom 4. Hoorai against Meteor Makers on episode 11 of Imbalanced.
Welcome to Imbalanced. I'm Civilian here with Seed. This week we have 2 struggling teams. MYM has to secure their playoff spot, while Hoorai needs to avoid being relegated to the qualification tournament.
Fnatic and MYM are all fighting for the 5th and 6th place playoff spots. MYM does have an easy schedule to finish out the season, but they still need to start scoring points if they want a chance at the playoffs. MYM's first attempt at a point will be Lucifer against Nilknarf.
Hoorai's top player Nilknarf, the WCG USA champion, facing off against the dominant MYM UD player Lucifer, who gets his DK in trouble early, and that gives Nilknarf confidence he can pull off the Expo. Little does Nilk know that the TP was used to finance dual crypt ghouls. Nilk assumes Lucifer is teching, so is unprepared when Lucifer brings in a dozen ghouls. In this situation, most undead would be teching, and Nilk's strategy would have worked beautifully, but against an intense first-tier attack, Nilk has nothing. In Game 2 on Turtle Rock, Lucifer goes Mass Destros, which Nilknarf counters with Tier 3 flying machines. Nilk uses Copter's Will by retreating them if the Destros had mana. Lucifer got the Panda to counter the flying machines, but Breath of Fire was hardly used at all. Even when it was used, the Panda only had level 1 Breath of Fire, which is 65 damage instead of the level 2 125. In the 3rd game, Nilk counters Lucifer beautifully. Lucifer has 1 Destro, and Nilk already has Griffins and flying machines. The loss in the battle and the 2 heroes killed sets Lucifer back heavily. Nilk thinks Lucifer is losing. After all, Lucifer has been down for a while. In the 2nd game, Lucifer continued going Destros and lost, but he changes his strategy in the 3rd game. Lucifer pulls Gargs out of nowhere, and Nilk's small reserve of flying machines are useless. With an effective 3-hero combo, Lucifer wins. Nilk is able to get a huge advantage in Game 3, which he never got in the first 2 games. What did he do differently, Seed?
Nilk had a number of hero kills early, but beyond that he had a great army composition. Lucifer only had a few fiends because his Destros got owned by flying machines, and his ghouls got owned by griffins. Nilk used his advantage to put up an Expo, and to take out Lucifer's gold mine.
But while Nilk got the advantage, how did he lose it?
He got countered. When he first saw gargoyles from Lucifer, he TP'd out, but instead of trying to switch to riflemen, he just massed more copters. But it almost worked for him. At one point, Lucifer had to TP, or he would have lost his entire army. A few moments later, he used a healing scroll in a situation where if he hadn't, he would have lost. Nilknarf should feel cheated out of a win. He lost Game 1 because he didn't scout. Then in Game 3, he was either 1 healing scroll or 1 TP away from winning.
With Horai star player Nilknarf out, hopefully they won't get skunked 5-0. Let's take a look at the next game, Pato vs. Bera.
Bera against Pato. Neither player has had a good showing in WC3L so far. Pato is 1-5, while Bera has only played 1 match, losing that game to 4K Todd. Game 1 here on Secret Valley was just straight up better micro by Bera. Pato got an Expo up late, but the cash was not enough to get him the win. Game 2 was an all-out slugfest. Pato put some pressure on early and kept it up all game long. The Panda was just huge in this game. The constant pressure by Pato never let Bera heal up his units. Instead of healing with Salve, Bera had to use healing scrolls, which were very expensive. The game came down to Pato being able to take out a large number of weak units that Bera never had the time to heal. The final game was on Nullwood, a very good map for orcs. Pato's timing on this map was perfect. He attacked Bera right when he hit Tier 2 and got a couple of burrow kills. The real problem for Bera was his lack of wood while his peons were in burrows. Pato recognized his advantage and started the tower push. Bera doesn't have the army to take the towers out. Pato rode his perfect timing to a 2-1 victory over Bera.
Levin and Susiri split the first 2 games. In the beginning of Game 3, Susiri complains that he can't play with this comp. Having his normal computer would fix his micro, but it doesn't fix stupid. The first mistake that Susiri makes is dual crypt ghouls. He knows that he can't fight at the Night Elf face. He's using the ghouls to power level his DK. The problem is that now he's teching late. Levin hits Tier 2 and grabs a Panda, which dominates ghouls. Now Susiri has a weaker army and can't safely creep until he gets to Tier 2. Susiri manages to survive and even kill Levin's Expo, but digs his grave when he gets to Destros. Why would you go Destros? Levin's army is all Dryads, which are immune to magic. Dryads even do extra damage to Destro. Levin gets his first win this season and drops Assyria down from 5-1 to 5-2.
We join Moon in Game 1 on Twisted Meadows against Quasi. Moon is currently on a 3-game losing streak, bringing his overall record this season to an abysmal 2-4. But he gets off to a quick start with a pair of hero kills. I wonder if Quasi is noticing the pattern of Moon focusing his heroes, then his heroes dying. In an attempt to counter Moon's Expo, he brings out the towers. The Expo by Moon did give Quasi the short-term advantage with a couple more bears early, but once Moon's extra income kicked in, he easily won Game 1 with a total of 4 hero kills. Moon looked to be in command of the series, but in Game 2 on Echo Isles, he didn't scout Quasi's Expo until it was too late. His feeble attempts at taking the Expo out were stopped by Quasi. Game 3 on Tyrannus Stand was almost an exact mirror match. Both players expoed, then expoed again. The only difference is that Quasi went all the way to Tier 3, while Moon stopped at Tier 2. Quasi somehow pulled out wins in both Games 2 and 3 to win the series. The 2v2 is the Brazilians of Hoorai against the Koreans of MYM. The team of Lucifer and Susiria are undefeated in WC3L, but have only played 2 matches. Levin and Pato are also undefeated because they haven't played a match together this season. The first match on Avalanche is one big Night Elf mirror. Hoorai puts the pressure on early while Lucifer tries to tech to bears. Lucifer waits to help out Susiria, and that's all the time that Pato and Levin needed to take out Susiria's main. Later in the same game, a fight by the fountain shows MYM's lack of teamwork. Levin's archers are never touched until very late in the battle. Either bears or huntresses can dominate archers, but neither Lucifer or Susiria thinks of going after them until it's too late. MYM struck back in Game 2 with superior micro, but again here in Game 3 on Twisted Meadows they didn't touch Levin's ranged units. Siege in Warcraft 3 has huge damage output, but dies very quickly. If you don't focus the siege, your army will be decimated very quickly. Hoorai decimates MYM in the 2v2 to bring the match score to a stunning 4-1. How many times have you heard that Warcraft 3 is all about micro? Well, it isn't. Frequently I hear players complaining about how they lost, but they had better micro than the other player. Try microing Destros against mass flying machines like Lucifer tried against Nilk. Try fighting without scouting your opponent's Expo like Grubby against Rotterdam at Eurocup. Try teching to Tier 3 bears when I tower push you at Tier 2. Even when the best players play, micro is trivial compared to scouting, timing, or countering your enemy. So next time you lose a game, figure out what you should have countered or scouted before you whine about having better micro and the game being imbalanced. Warcraft 3 isn't imbalanced, this show is. Next we have the most imbalanced part of the show, the top plays.
At number 5, Nilknarf loses a creep kill to Lucifer, but in return forces him to TP. Lucifer went on to win in 3 games.
For number 4, we shift over to MTW against Go, Davin trying to heal his Blade Master. How much do you want to bet that he doesn't realize that Quill Beasts actually do damage? Davin would lose 2-1.
We stay with MTW against Go for top play number 3. Shai tries a great play. He uses a Staff of Teleportation and then a Town Portal to save 2 bears. The problem is that the TP is 350 gold, so even if he saves both bears, it's hardly worth it.
Our number 2 top play is Sass against Lin from Mouse Sports against World Elite. Lin needed all the help he could get from that sheep as Sass dominated him with a 2-0 victory.
MTW and Clan Go produce yet another top play. Davin gets creepjacked and Shadowhunter gets bolted and hexed. Somehow he gets an Ankh of Reincarnation there. Watch it again as the Rock Golem drops the Ankh and the Shadowhunter barely has time to pick it up. It only gets better 2 minutes later when a Peasant's Round has the Shadowhunter in trouble again. The Blade Master tosses him another Ankh of Reincarnation. The problem is the Shadowhunter is still surrounded by peons. Luckily for Davin, the peons weren't on hold position. Who would have predicted Hoorai taking the clan war 4-1? Losing to World Elite, 4K, and Maus is one thing, but losing to Hoorai is an all-new low for MYM.
At the start of the season, no one would have even considered the chance that MYM might not make the playoffs, but now it seems like a very real possibility. If they have another blow-up like this, they could be in the WC3L Season 11 qualification tournament.
Next week we will be covering Mouse Sports against Clan Go. Mouse Sports would like to solidify their LAN playoff spot by finishing in the top 2, while Clan Go wants to stay out of the qualification tournament. That's all for this week. Thanks for watching. So next week we'll be covering Mouse Sports against Clan Go, right?
Yeah, I hope it's not a blowout, though, but I guess we really haven't covered a blowout yet, so it might be fun.
What do you call MYM versus Hoorai?
Oh. A few moments later, he used a halving scroll?
Like for halflings?
Yes, it's a halfling scroll. Great for when you're playing Lord of the Rings in Warcraft 3. Now I'm going to shut up and let you start over.